So I'll read a brief excerpt from Chesterton's poem of the Battle of Lepanto. And the thing about poems like this is it does require some understanding of the story to get the whole poem. But basically, the short version is that the Ottoman fleet is coming and has its eyes on Rome. And if they take Rome, that's it. So the Pope, knowing that they are coming, has sent out a call asking for help from the Holy League, which was a post-Reformation coalition of royals, kings, and princes, basically who had taken an oath to protect holy sites and protect the Pope if the call was to go out. Well, he sends out this call, and the only one that actually answers is a bastard son of Spain. He's called Don Juan of Austria, but he is a Spaniard.
I don't
He's a
think that's
ba-
how it works. Because he still gets ships from Venice and Genoa and Spain and
He
I
gets the
think Spain and
ships,
other.
yes. They provide ships, but they don't provide very much to him. That he is the only one who is actually willing to lead this fight. He is the only one actually willing to get up out of his chair and do something. And when he goes to the other leaders, they kind of hand wave you like, yeah, 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 sure, 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 sure. Take my men, take my ships, whatever you need, just take them. You're doing this so I don't have to. But so this stanza of the play,
By the way, I think that's what I get for my knowledge of Lepanto coming from a historical fiction work about it. So some things may have been twisted, although that historical fiction work is awesome.
it's a Lewis DeWolf book, so it's probably very well researched and very good, and that might be an error on my part. But Don Juan of Austria was the only European nobleman that responded properly. No other king, none of the kings of Europe responded. And Chesterton makes that clear in this poem as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, here in this verse here. King Philip's in his closet with the fleece about his neck. Don John of Austria is armed upon the deck.
Yeah, one provided resources, one provided himself.
Yeah. One of these one of these days we will do an actual dissection of this poem, and we will talk about the actual day and the actual battle because it is worth talking about. But here's a good example. So the Christian forces of the Holy League have met the Ottoman forces at a place called Lepanto, which is off the coast of Italy, I believe, someplace. And it's not going well. The battle is not going well. The Holy League ships are getting sunk one after another. Their men are dropping like flies. Everything is going poorly because the Ottomans have the wind on their side. So Don Juan of Austria sends out a messenger to the Pope. And the Pope, I forget who was the Pope at the time.
Pope Pius the Fifth, I believe.
Was that Pius V?
I'm gonna guess so. It was a
Because
Pius
he was the
something.
Pope at the Council of Trent.
May have been him. I swear it's a
Anyway,
Pius something.
that sounds right.
Hmm.
If we're wrong, somebody correct us. But the Pope then gathers as many people as he can into St. Peter's Square and they all pray the rosary. And then this happens. The Pope was in his chapel before day or battle broke. Don John of Austria is hidden in the smoke. The hidden room in man's house where God sits all the year, the secret window whence the world looks small and very dear. He sees as in a mirror on the monstrous twilight sea the crescent of his cruel ships, whose name is mystery. They fling great shadows forwards, making cross and castle dark. They veil the plumed lions on the galleys of St. Mark. It's the Venetian ships. And above the ships are palaces of brown, black-bearded chiefs. And below the ships are prisons, where with multitudinous griefs, Christian captives, sick and sunless, all a laboring race repines, like a race in sunken cities, like a nation in the mines. They are lost like slaves that swat, and in the skies of morning hung the stairways of the tallest gods where tyranny was young. They are countless, voiceless, hopeless, as those fallen or fleeing on before the High King's horses in the granite of Babylon. And many a one grows witless in his quiet room in hell, where a yellow face looks inward through the lattice of his cell. And he finds his God forgotten, and he seeks no more a sign. But Don John of Austria has burst the battle line. The wind changed after the prayers of the Pope and the people of Rome, then favored the Holy League, which proceeded to trample the Ottoman forces, mount their ship, board the enemy ships, and free the captive slaves. Free and arm the slaves, thereby increasing their numbers, and ultimately winning the day. And that was an excerpt of that. We will go through the whole poem. It is a very long poem.
You can get the sense of that
The
potentially just from the excerpt you read.
the last stanza, because one of the soldiers at Lepanto was a young Spaniard by the name of Miguel Cervantes.
Mm-hmm.
Cervantes on his galley sets the sword back in the sheath. Don Juan of Austria rides homeward with a wreath, and he sees across a weary land a straggling road in Spain, up which a lean and foolish knight forever rides in vain. And he smiles, but not his sultan's smile, and settles back the blade. But Don John of Austria rides home from the crusade. And this battle is one of the reasons that they think Cervantes wrote Don Quixote. Because in Don John of Austria is one of the last great examples of chivalry.
In short, what a guy.
Yeah.
But also what a battle. I mean, if we don't win, if the Holy League doesn't win that battle, just imagine how much world history changes. It's radical.
Yeah, because the Protestant Reformation has just happened. And that's part of the reason that nobody is coming to help. Because all of the German princes are fighting amongst themselves. And they're too
And,
busy with their petty squabbles to notice the Ottoman threat.
and the Spaniards might be concerned with William of Orange at the time. So,
Possibly. Or, no, William of Orange was much earlier.
again,
No,
I'm leaning
the
on my historical fiction book, but
the line
I think it's somewhere
that
in there.
Chesterton wrote was that the King of Spain would rather wear his fancy clothes and look in a mirror than actually come and help. Now, things are embellished for the sake of poetry and for the sake of verse. But read Lepanto if you think that poetry isn't manly, and then again tell me that poetry isn't manly.
But then Don Juan of Austria bursts the battle line. It's a great line.
Yeah.
After, and it's a single line response. I'm sure there's more after it. I know there's more
Mm-hmm.
after it. But it's a single line response as you presented it to the hell that those slaves are going through,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And the loss of hope that the Pope is starting to feel.
Yeah.
In his chapel, looking out the window, and he can see what's happening.
The, yeah, the depth of despair. Even if the despair is not a hopeless despair, it's still a despair. Reminds me in Lord of the Rings when, in front of the Black Gate, hope died in their chests, as Tolkien
Mm.
puts it. And it's like, that's a great way to describe it.
Yeah.
Because they still fight. And they still have some sort of hope, perhaps, some sort of faith. But that's a line that describes it. Just like Chesterton's lines describe, again, what those slaves are going through.
And you can feel that.
Yeah, like you could imagine you were in hell. You could imagine that you were in that place, being forced to row against your comrades, your countrymen, your brothers and sisters in Christ, with, you know that you're serving the side with greater numbers. You may know what the wind is like. You may know have an idea of what the battle is going like. Just the overwhelming message of you can do nothing.
And with the slave master potentially taunting you and sneering at you the whole time.
Yeah. Like how would you keep your spirits high? You just wouldn't.
No,
Only
no.
the very best of men might. But then Don Juan of Austria burst the battle line, and that not only burst the battle line, but burst the sky open, right?
Yeah. Suddenly there's cannon fire, there's a noise above the deck, and the cage opens.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's a Spaniard handing swords down to you.
Mm-hmm. There is sunlight in more ways than one. Yeah, I
This
should
is
read it
what
in full.
poetry is for.
Or rather, we're going to read it in full together.
Yes, we will in the coming, and as we end, in the coming weeks, we will be going through various great poems, maybe dissecting them, or just reading them, just sitting and reading poetry to each other. Because, not enough people do that. And that may be, we won't do it every week, but it may be a semi regular thing that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Read poetry and talk about it.
It sounds like a worthy thing to do around the fire. Actually, a very worthy thing.
So, that will be coming in the coming weeks. And we do take requests.
Yes.
So, drop us a line, leave us a comment, let us know what you'd like us to read and talk about.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's not slam poetry, I'm kind of open to anything.
Yeah.
Or
If you
Poe. I
send
don't
a
like
if you,
Poe.
if you send a slam poetry, don't put it above me to create a wall of shame that is public somehow. You'll be anonymized on it, but
Yeah, we'll have your name blocked out, but your
it'll
comment will be there.
it'll be there. So that would be right up my sense of humor to do such a thing. Anyway, send us good suggestions, and we'll see you next time.